It's been a while since I made a video to talk about the recent additions we made to Mission Control, and I will say that I did get lucky and found a really cool contributor who's been adding in a lot of features. So I want to kind of demo the things he's been adding on because there's a lot of great features, and I do appreciate your addition. So if you're watching this, I thank you. But also just talk about my mindset as to why am I even building this out when we have Cursor, we have Codex, we have Klein, we have all these other agentic development environments. Why would I build my own instead of just using what exists today? So let's talk about that problem. The first problem I have found with agentic development is that with agents, you're able to work on many different projects concurrently. And since that's the new normal, having an ADE that really helps you jump between projects and manage them is something that I care about. At work, I typically work on different projects. We have internal projects I have to work on. Also, there's client work, and that client may have different projects I have to jump between. And being able to manage that from a centralized place is something that I find very valuable. Now, if you've used Cursor in T3 Code and all these other tools, Herder, I just don't find the user experiences to be what I need. Typically, it's just you interacting with like a left panel with all your sessions. It's very hard to find the work that you've kicked off and like what you're looking for. And I needed a way to be able to jump between projects very easily. So let me show you this. If I were to do a Command U and type SketchLab, that'll take me directly to my SketchLab project, or I can type in, I don't know, I can type in WebDev Cody to go to my WebDev Cody project. Okay, so step one is, can I easily switch between projects? Step two is, can I pin those projects so that they are very easily accessible? Step three, which the contributor added in, is can I group these projects? So for example, let's say I just want to focus in on all my WebDev Cody stuff. I can switch to the WebDev Cody ecosystem, and now I can just quickly switch between these projects doing Command 1, 2, 3. Or if I do want to work on many projects at once, I can go back to all projects. We only have a certain amount pinned, but if I want to jump to Mission Control and do a little bit of work on that, I can do Command 2, 2, and that'll take me back to my Mission Control where I can kick off a new session, and I can prompt Claude Code to add in a feature. Now, hopefully what you noticed when I'm interacting with Mission Control is everything in this application has a hotkey. If I want to load up a terminal session, it's Command N. If I want to archive, Command W, Command W. If I want to toggle between the sessions, Command Shift, bracket, left bracket, right bracket. I can switch to this grid terminal view if I want to see both open at the same time. And I can quickly switch back, right? If I need to find a file, I can just do Command P, type package.json, and there you go. I loaded up the file. If I wanted to find a previous session where I talked about something, I can type in, for example, core, and that'll take me to all of my sessions that I talked about, my core skills, okay? Or if I wanted to talk about, I don't know, a WebDev Cody, I can then find my project where I kind of worked on that, okay? You can see here I asked, like, what is my name? What is my favorite color? And just to kind of show that, I can just click on one of these, and it'll take me directly to that session and resume it. So then I can actually continue off where, maybe my archive, I have a bunch of stuff I kicked off, and I need to go back and get that information, okay? Now, with all that being said, there are problems with doing multi-project development with agentic coding. When you're kicking off different sessions and different projects, it's hard to manage it, okay? Let's say I want to do a little edit to WebDev Cody. Let's say someone sent me a bug report. How do I go about launching my WebDev Cody project, right? Typically, you have to load up a terminal. I have to go and remember, like, what's the command for this project? Am I using PNPM? Am I using NPM? I don't really know. I don't remember because I have so many different projects. So I wanted to add in a really quick way of when you go to a project, Command dot to run it, Command B to load up inside a browser. Okay, let's click on this browser. It brought the browser up in a different window, but let's just go over here. You'll see that here is my project running. So 2 clicks, and now the project's running. And then if I want to close it, I can just Command period that as well. Now, what's super important these days with agentic coding is something called work trees. So not only do you want to do work off your main branch, sometimes you want to kick off a work tree so you can do some isolated work and have that create a pull request in the future. So work trees are very easy. Click on new work tree here. And now you have a completely different set of sessions that are managed over here with the work tree. So I'm going to say, what is the capital of Colorado? I'll kick this one off, and I can go back to my main branch. And you'll see that this one doesn't show that session. That session is isolated to that work tree. And I can just focus on doing work on all my different work trees. And when that work tree is done, look at this. I get a little green dot. I also get a notification, so I can click it, go back to that work tree, and I can get my result of the prompt that I asked. Now, some other things that we try to add in is when you're basically getting requests from Claude Code or Codex, and it's going to ask you a question. For example, ask me what my favorite color is with a multi-choice tool call. Now, if you're paying attention, what I just demoed right there is I have voice to text built into this application. It comes bundled into the application using Whisper. So I can just use my voice to ask questions, and you'll see that when we need input, we get this need input. Over here, we get need input. We get this little exclamation mark that we need some input. In fact, I should probably turn this red. That'd probably be a better user experience. But the coolest thing is that we have a pet down here, and the pet starts jumping around, and we have a little exclamation mark. If I were to be on a different project, when this pet comes up, if I click it, it takes me right to that session that's asking me the question. And now we answer the question, the pet's happy, and we can basically continuously kick off different sessions and be able to get notified when they're all done. I do believe also it plays sounds when these sessions finish, so that can also alert you. But those are some of the main features that I added into Mission Control. Also, the contributor added in. He added in the pets, which I find really cool. He added in this split terminal session where I can just go ahead and make new terminals over here, and that automatically splits it. I can split it by row. I can just go ahead and reorganize these like this. So hopefully by now you kind of understand the problem I'm trying to solve. Maybe you don't have this problem. Maybe at work you can just use, 1 or 2 terminal sessions. But as you start really embracing agentic coding and you have many different sessions running at once, one adding a feature to a work tree, one adding another feature somewhere else, one fixing a bug, it can become very overwhelming and it's hard to manage all this stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I built this out. But honestly, none of these tools even come close to solving out the problems that I'm trying to solve. Even with Herder, I just installed Herder because people are hyping it up and it just feels not good. I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on it, but it's just crazy how some of these tools will get so much backing behind them. And then you use them and you try to right click on something and you realize you can't even rename a terminal with a right click. So that's my thought process of why I made Mission Control. Now there's another whole process of how do you know where to add certain buttons? Because at some point you're adding in way too much to your application. It can feel very bloated. Even my application right now, there are some things I really want to fix with it. If you zoom in a little bit too much, you'll notice all these buttons at the top, basically they clobber the whole header. So you have to ask yourself at every step of the way, is having this button displayed at all time, is this necessary? If not, can I hide it away? Is it something we can put behind a feature flag so that maybe some users want it to be displayed at all times? For example, maybe the usage of Claude Code. Can I hide that? Can I right click on it and I can say hide? Right now I can't right click on any of these buttons to hide them. I think that's something that we could add into this project to quickly be able to right click on stuff and just hide it away. And if we want it back in the future, I can show it. This right here, I don't want this displayed on my screen because as I'm zoomed in, you'll notice that it wraps all these buttons. The screenshot button, the grid view button. I don't really even use the grid view, I'll be honest. I just use one session at a time. And so this is something else I would love to just hide from my view as a Mission Control user. So I think that's the next step is once you've added in all these features and it's a really feature-rich application, you realize that you can't just show this to all your users at once. It's just too much information. But also hiding the stuff away is problematic because now people don't even know what your application can provide them, okay? But at the end of the day, I don't care, right? This is built for me. I'm trying to use it. It's making my workflows much more efficient. I'm able to manage and jump between projects and manage all these session windows. I find it very valuable. But I wanted to make a video for you all in case you wanted to try it out as well and just leave me feedback if there's anything that you want me to change with it. But at this point, let me go back and give a little bit of thanks to the contributor who added in the pets. He added in this view where we can switch to have multi-sessions going on. He added in a recall system. So if I click over here, there's a recall skill that tries to learn your project as you are prompting it, right? If I go over to the Mission Control one, let's try it over here. So we have a bunch of memories that are basically stored, talking about the tech stack of the project, recent things I've changed. And as you're prompting with your sessions, it's automatically going to add in memory so that if you were to switch between Claude Code or switch between Codex, they all kind of use that same memory system to keep them all consistent. So that's something that he added in. He also added in this cool screenshot feature. Let me show you this. If I were to just take a screenshot of something, I can just go ahead and go to a terminal and then I can add that in right here, click add. And now that image has been added into my session panel. I can go down to the bottom and click view my screenshots and you'll see all the screenshots show over here. I can click and drag them in as well, like this. And then you can also delete them when you're done with them, etc. He also added in the ability to search over all sessions. So Command Shift P, I can then type in like, I don't know, mission control, and that should show me all the text that matches with that. And I can go directly to that session when I click on it. He also added in the ability to see the usage of your Claude instance. I think he also has like codec support too. If you click it, you can go and configure that, I think here in usage. So yeah, there's like a bunch of different tools you can kind of get like usage output for. And then you can see codec usage over here. He added in grouping. Like I kind of mentioned in demo, you can actually like group stuff and then have those be pinned over here in different groups, which I find very useful to have these over here in pinned groups. And then also the pets he added in. So as you interact with your session, the pet levels up until it gets to level 10 where you can have it molt, which basically gives it a cool star next to it. So if I were to go to my pet panel over here, you can see all the different pet styles that we have. So if I want to switch to like the bunny over here, I now have a bunny pet. Now, one thing I added in with pets is the ability to do like multiplayer. So if you're all working on a team on the same Git repo, when you kick off new sessions, you will see your teammates' pets pop up over here. They don't share any information about what they're working on or their session. I tried to make sure that's all pretty secure. They really just share their pet name and their pet level, and that's it. And they will just randomly kind of client-side walk around. You can turn that off or turn that on in the settings, of course. But yeah, those are some of the cool things that we've added to Mission Control over the past between now and the last video that I made. So if you do want to try this, go to Agent System Dev, go to Mission Control. I think if you go to products, it's free to use. It's not really product, or you can click download free up here. You can go straight to the GitHub repo if you want to check out the code, or if you want to download it, you can just go to download free and there's a list of all the downloads that you can kind of play around with. I am open to feedback. Leave a GitHub issue or join my Discord if you want to message me and tell me about some things that you found. But other than that, that's kind of the overview of what has changed in this project since I first last made a video about it, and also my thought process as to like why I even added it and how I managed to figure out where to do certain things in terms of the features and the workflows. All right, that's about it. Have a good day and happy coding.